Hi, my name is Kenny Lewis. I'm a mix engineer here in the Boston area. Some of my bigger credits have been bands like Stryper, and I had a #1 record with Freddie Jackson, Until the End of Time. I've also worked in the smooth jazz world. I've worked in the hard rock world. I've also mixed plenty of bluegrass and country stuff. So I've kind of been around the gambit of stuff, and I also mix commercials. One of the first things I noticed about the Phasx speakers was I could hear pretty deep into the mix, like extremely deep into the mix, where other top-end speakers, when I get my mix out into the real world, all of a sudden it wouldn't translate anymore. But with these speakers, it translated very well. And my clients also started noticing that too. I had several clients come in and say, I don't know what you're doing differently, but these mixes sound way better than what you're normally doing. And I just found like I could hear much clearer. I also noticed at the end of the day, my ear fatigue was a lot less. And I think a lot of that has to do with I didn't have to crank them as loud to get, to get like the bass response. I didn't have to do some of the things that I have to do with other speakers to get the results. The clients actually were listening on their rigs. They were actually people that weren't coming to the studio. They were listening remotely. So they were listening on something other than these speakers. That's why I'm saying like the mixes were actually translating to other speakers very, very well, which is something I'm always looking for in a speaker. I mean, up till now we've had to have 4 or 5 sets of speakers to get things to translate right. So I mean that was definitely a plus that I found a set of speakers that would actually translate well to the real world, not just sound great in the studio. Let's face it, no environment is absolutely perfect to listen in. I mean, and let's face it, the stuff we're mixing when you get it out to the real world, the environments are absolutely awful to listen into most of the time. There's noise, there's different size rooms. Every speaker has a color to it, so you're dealing with like people playing this back in vast amount of environments and vast amounts of speaker systems. So I mean, as an engineer, when we're trying to mix this thing, we're trying to shoot it down the middle somewhere where it's going to sound reasonably good in all environments, and that can be hard. I mean, and let's face it. I mean, not every studio environment is the best. I mean, even now with studios moving into smaller rooms that are not designed necessarily by these acoustic gurus. I mean, now we're having to play all kinds of tricks because let's face it, people don't have money to make. A lot of people don't have as much money to make records. Even the big artists, I'm finding, don't have as much budget as they used to have.